Alright, class is in session. Everybody take a seat. This video is for educational purposes only. First off, I'd like to commend the women that were in the comment section of that video I posted yesterday. You guys were having very civil, but very no-nonsense conversations with this guy. This guy, who had some very interesting things to say in my comment section. Now, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, which means that sometimes it takes me a little bit to realize when somebody is arguing in bad faith or just wasting my time. But you guys, y'all were quick. Y'all noticed it instantly. So good job on that. Let's talk about it. I'd like to draw your attention to this slide. Okay, thanks. My background is in psychology. A whole bunch of things are coercive. In fact, my experience is that you have to train most people, especially men, not to be coercive in some way. So I feel like we've arrived at a conclusion that most men are abusive in relationships. Probably including you and I. And I'm wondering what is the best way to tackle that. Sir, what do you mean by that? Moving on, but I want to note that he claims to be a psychology buff or psychology major. I don't know his backstory. Someone said it perfectly, so I'll just quote them. Man compares revenge porn to outing an abuser, considers them equally bad. Shocking. He replies, thanks. If I had meant sexual or explicit, I would have said that. Thoughts, feelings, and images can be intimate without being sexual.
Imagine that she had sent intimate pictures to Jonah, and on their breakup, he had shared those publicly. People would be outraged.
What kind of intimate photos are you talking about that she would have sent him that people would be outraged if he exposed? He was talking about revenge porn. We all know what the phrase intimate photos means. It's only ever used in one way. So to act like that's not the way he meant to use it is intellectually dishonest. And to act like everyone else is tripping for coming to the appropriate conclusion of what he meant is gaslighting. He's a psychology guy, so he either knows this or he's just not a good psychology guy. Moving on, this part's important. As I say, I agree Jonah's language is manipulative. I think that publicly shaming someone as soon as they do something coercive in a relationship is not the most constructive behavior. I think it's trading one kind of toxic behavior for another. All right, so this is his stance. All right, this is what he truly believes, and this is the reason why he's writing all this dumb shit. 3 things to note here. Sarah posted screenshots of manipulative texts that Jonah actually sent. And this guy calls that publicly shaming, and he thinks that that is toxic to do. 2, he mentioned her talking about these texts as soon as it happened as being not constructive, and that's not what took place. She posted these way after the fact, which is interesting because women also get discredited for talking about abuse way after the fact. So it's not constructive to talk about it as soon as it happens, and it's also not constructive to talk about it way after the fact. 3, I want you to take note that he's using the phrase something coercive. This is very intentional. This context, his video, is asking to discuss whether or not it's okay to publicly out someone who is manipulating you. But what he says is he doesn't think it's okay to publicly shame someone for doing something coercive, just anything coercive. And the reason he's saying that goes back to here. A whole bunch of things are coercive. Are you guys tracking? Let's keep moving. Can I ask, does coercive use of therapeutic language count as abuse? It's a really interesting question. What I responded was, that's a weird way to word that. Are you asking if manipulation is abuse? Because that's what we're talking about. He's being very particular with how he words these things because, like he said, lots of things can be considered coercion. Because if I convince my gym partner to go to the gym and they weren't feeling it that day, that could be considered coercive. So he's trying to stay in the pocket with this word so that he can dick around and play devil's advocate. He asks several people this question. And he also tries to reframe what was said and what we're talking about multiple times. Okay, so any partner, male or female, should publicly expose any behavior they feel is manipulative. Is that where we landed? You see all of that he put in there? The argument expressed so far seems to be privacy should not be used to protect abusers. Anything perceived as coercive or manipulative by the recipient counts as abuse. Nobody said that. I completely agree on one, and I am getting people's opinion on 2. He also asked this question multiple times. If you say something to me that I perceive as coercive, does that count as abuse? And I answered him. Nobody talked about anything feeling coercive. Where'd you even get that from? We're talking about literally written text. Watch this. It's not my language, smiley face. It's the way I've seen his text most often described here, but happy to be corrected. Not a single person said this in the comment thread. Not one. The reason I'm showing you guys this is because I want you to be aware of when your time and energy is being wasted. These guys do not care what you have to say. They are not there to learn anything. They will leave with the exact same stance they came in with. They're there engaging with you because they think it's fun. That's what all the smiling emojis are for. Nobody was telling jokes. In the future, when you see people engaging in this kind of behavior, now you know what it is. Hopefully you'll be able to identify it and save yourself some time and energy. That's it. Class adjourned. If you guys want to stick around for the honorable mentions, here they are. Here he tried to suggest that both parties were being coercive, and then he asked if abuse is a legal matter. Here Lisa says, weaponized private communications is the secrecy upon which manipulators and abusers depend to continue harm, which is an amazing quote. Go off, Lisa. And he replies, I'm not sure that secrecy and privacy are the same thing. Does the government have a right to invade your secrecy? And she replies, that's a different conversation entirely, and while valid, not related or relevant to the current discussion. Go off, Lisa. Extra credit. Here, Amanda said private conversations are not entitled to privacy. That's why NDAs exist. You are absolutely right, Amanda. Here he tried to invoke the right to privacy, but I quickly shut that shit down. The right to privacy has nothing to do with relationships. Right to privacy means that the government can't search you or your shit without a consent or a warrant. Here he tried to suggest that it was a data privacy breach citing GDPR, which is a European-only privacy standard. Here another Amanda, y'all Amandas are killing it, but here another Amanda says all abusers would prefer their abuse stayed private. That's why they don't do it public. What a weird take for a guy to have. And he replies, I'm sure they would. Do you think everybody who has something private is an abuser though? Or do you expect some privacy? Crystal over here stays in the pocket. Why does that matter if what's being discussed here is abuse? Why do you feel the need to keep changing the subject? Go, Crystal. Extra credit. Here he's trying to deflect. I am actually just asking questions. But Warp Confusion stays in the pocket. You're not. You're creating a narrative. I thought with author in your title, you'd know how words work. And last but certainly not least, extra credit for 797 for reminding me that this meme even existed. But she says, you're an exhausting person. You're the personified white dude plays the devil's advocate meme. And he called her a racist for that. They're both white, by the way. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something today. Be on the lookout for this kind of behavior when you're having your own discourse so you don't waste your time.